Give them 3 rounds, lads. We want 3 rounders here, judges, yeah? Is 2 rounds, 5 rounds for a world title. You ever had one of those world titles, Michael?
Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brett.
I want 3 rounds, ref. 3 rounds.
3 rounds. Kevin.
Hello.
Look, Connor can join the club. I feel like Connor somehow went into the future, saw a review, went back in time, and had that feedback. I had the same feedback last week, Connor. I want to see all 3 rounds. Who's to say there won't be a knockout? I know that we did get the rules explained, and shout out to even like Logan and the other commenters. Obviously, in the first round, it's just 2-0, but if they get to the semis in the final match, they do normal full fight rounds. Again, this is a bad week for Team McGregor. 0-5. This may be like a tanking season. They're going for the number 1 draft pick for next season. Pull out your brown paper bags. Connor's got his other number 1 going next week. It's probably his best shot. We'll get into the fight in a second, but I do want to talk about just that rule change, not the rule change, but that rule thing. And another rule thing I want to throw by you guys and the audience. The stuff with Brad this week, Katona, and how he's kind of a pain in the ass and how he really doesn't want to participate with the teams as much. And obviously the stuff with his other coaches aside. Is he kind of smart, though? Is he kind of smart for not wanting to go and spar with these dudes and to open up and help his teammates out? And why would it's not a team competition, really, right? Is that really what the producers of The Ultimate Fighter don't want anyone saying? It's like, no, don't do that. Is he an a-hole for doing that, Brett, or is he kind of right?
No, I don't think he's an a-hole. I mean, it's a him sport. He can do whatever the hell he wants. So I guess he wasn't sparring with him. I think their whole drama was just that they had something to say, like, oh, he's being a diva. His coach is on the other side. So it's just something they could use against him. Like if his coach wasn't on the other side, would they have even been saying anything about it? I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell what he was or wasn't doing. Maybe he was skipping practices, but I've seen people do stuff like that before. And I agree with Brad. It's his career and he's got to do whatever fits him.
What do you think, Kev? Do you think he should be helping out the team, or do you not have any issue with him kind of being a lone wolf?
In so many ways, I feel like you should still be there and maybe not necessarily sparring with them, but throwing out hey, I see what you're doing here. Why don't you try doing it this way? See if that works out. You don't necessarily have to get physical, and I could understand why he wouldn't want to do that. However, I mean, be a teammate. This is a team competition in so many ways, but in so many other ways, it's individual.
The conversation where he's like, when are we going to watch film, was cracking me up. Chandler just wanted nothing to do with this dude. He's like, dude, just go away, man. Just beat it. I really don't want to talk to you right now. I actually made me laugh out loud. It reminded me of a WWE segment almost. This Katona dude was so such a goof, and so it was in character almost, and you just had Chandler deadpanning. I'm like, oh god, why am I doing this? I gotta deal with this guy. Put him on the other team. Who cares? Just get him out of here. They should just let him on the other team.
It's a very standard process and what you go through as on any team that you have. There's always that one person you're like, dude, just commit to the program.
It's a TV show, man.
We get it. You're good. Just commit to what we're trying to do here as a whole. But in so many, I mean, isn't Ted Lasso? That's what it's all about. Where the one dude is just too good to be a part of the team. Yeah. He's too good to be a part of the team, and then he finally realizes oh man, it's better to be a teammate. Blah blah blah.
A little different, I guess, in this show when you get knocked out, right? Choked out by the other people.
I do understand the difference.
But
it is I think it's something you go through on a team all the time.
Coach Beard's definitely been in a few cage fights. If you're a Ted Lasso fan, you'll know. Let's talk about the fight, boys. Brad Katona, the number 2 on on Team Chandler. Carlos Vera, number 3 on Team McGregor. I kind of thought it was a boring fight.
Same.
Carlos circled around, evaded a lot in the first round, did land some punches. Brad brought him down. That's how the round ended. Brad had a second round takedown, a rear choke, some strikes. No one knocked each other out. And
I
then
lost track of which round was which, but I definitely think there should have been 3 rounds.
Dude, me too. I thought in the first round, especially, Carlos had him down a lot. He was holding a lot. I thought it was a pretty even exchange. And that's what kind of I said last week. Even if you gave both rounds technically to one guy, if one's really close, how do you not just, that's what Connor's saying. How do you not just let him do the third round, right? You don't know what's going to happen. The other guy might be might be gassed. Like, for all, I mean, I don't think Katona was.
When you're judging it, you're like on the fence of like, oh, whose round is this and why is it their round? Well, in that case, give it to the guy who needs it. Because I think Brad Katona, he literally just like, when he got grappling advantage, he just sat on him for like 2-3 minutes.
It was boring
on the fight. I think the other guy did way more damage or landed more strikes.
He was like pounding away.
And he went for more, transitions and subs or whatever.
He went for a sharpshooter.
I think he won at least one of those rounds. I would have given.
Dude, I like legitimately after the second round started questioning myself on. I just don't understand the sport because it was like, I was like, those seemed very like maybe the second one went more towards the guy who won, but the first one I was like that was fairly even. Like, if not, I was going to say it went to the other guy.
With the Carlos.
I don't know. So I was like, I don't really get this, but hey.
You're like, dope, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some judge, I mean, it depends on the judging, because back in the day, what Brad did, where he just like laid on top of them, that scores points and scores rounds. But nowadays, if you just sit on a guy, and even if it's half the round, if you don't do like anything with it, if the other guy just hits you with a few shots on the feet, they'll just give it to the guy that hits you with a few shots on the feet. So that's what I thought they would have done, but they didn't. So they went the old school rules where it's like, oh, he just laid on and so he wins.
I mean, looks like finally next week we get the moment that we got in the teaser with McGregor and Chandler kind of facing up. Looks like Connor's going to push him in the face and the whole thing. I mean, nothing's going to end up obviously happening, but at least maybe it's starting to lay a little bit of the storyline for the eventual fight in the fall. So there's that. Any prediction for next week for the fight, Brett?
I think Connor's golden boy loses, and that's why they have an altercation.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Because Connor's like, oh, I'm down 0-5, but it's whatever. Like, my guy still did a good showing. But the moment his guy loses and he goes 0-6, that's when he goes and storms the cage and they get in a fight he pushes Chandler.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Coach, what was it? Like Coach John, he wouldn't even help out his dude on his team. He's like, oh, you're fighting Brad. He's in my gym. I can't help you. I'm like,
right.
What? I was like, then why did they even let him on the other team? That should have just been like a producer's thing that they didn't really show. But like, he's on this team. Like, it just makes it easier. Maybe they thought it'd be unfair. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing when you brought this up earlier. It's like, well, why would they make it like that he's not on McGregor's team if that was the case? But I don't know.
I mean, especially if he's going to lose a coach. I think I heard somewhere that the guy Kavanaugh did end up cornering him. I don't know. But yeah, I think the whole idea of, oh, he's on my team back home. I can't. You're like, I'm not going to coach you, but I'm not going to coach the other guy. I'm just going to go chill in the corner and watch. I mean, bro,
that's a little reckless. Yeah.
A little reckless. Just collecting a paycheck here, Kev.
Yeah.
Just sitting there collecting a paycheck, doing no work. Yeah, look, overall, I'm looking forward to we have, I think, what is it, like 3 more left in the first round?
I think so, yeah.
3 more left in the first round. Yeah. So I mean, we're getting close to the semis. I'm psyched for the semi fights. I mean, I'm looking forward to the rest of the first round, but it'll be cool to see people we've seen fight before, like first time going through this. I am excited to see the match. Do they reseed, Brett? How does that work?
Well, all Chandler's guys are going to fight all Chandler's guys.
I was going to say, is that what happens if McGregor's guys all get swept? It would just be Chandler guys,
right? Yeah. So typically, I want to say that the standard thing they do is both coaches meet with Dana White and basically say, "Hey, I want this guy matched up with that guy for this reason," and they basically just make a deal of the matchmaking. So he's like, "Well, I don't want that matchup, so if I give you that one, you got to give me this one and stuff like that. And they just kind of pick who they want to go against who.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Gotcha.
I'm looking forward to that. It's almost like a fantasy draft.
Yeah, right.
Make sure you're liking and subscribing in the comments. Community has been really cool for this one. Shout out to Logan and everybody who has been filling us in with knowledge. Check out everything else we're reviewing here on the channel. Everything from Temptation Island to The Bachelorette to Stars on Mars, Claim to Fame, The Big D. If you check out our TikTok, we're doing 60-second reviews. Brian's doing Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Love Island. I'm doing Below Deck Sailing Yacht. Also a bunch of reality clips of the day, funny reviews. So maybe we'll eventually get Bachelor Batman back as well. So we'll see. But until next week, for myself, Brett, and Kevin, good night and good fight.
3 rounds.
Yeah.
3 rounds.